Hopefully that is good as well. Your left start to stream if I knocked over the camera right away, wouldn't it? Alright, let me know if that's good or bad. Okay. That's good to hear. Got the preview on one screen, I've got the chat on the other screen. We're good. Both of them are on opposite ends of the room. This stream is not being held together by sticks and mud, I swear. Tell me how the sound sounded, obviously. If it's too loud, let me know. If it's too quiet, let me know. I'm using a higher quality noise suppression program for the microphone, so hopefully it shouldn't pick up on random stuff in the background. We'll see. Hello, and welcome back, I guess. I am live streaming, and we are going to paint the Stormcast as a sort of hype up for Age of Sigmar 4th edition for Warhammer. I've got a knight, what's the name? Knight the Furos, like a Wind Rider type thing. So, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Obviously, again, let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. Get closer. And yeah. Let's see. I need to do anything else to set up. Can I just get right into it? I think I can just get right into it if I want. Feel free to chat, obviously, if you have not. Okay. You good? The issue, I'm gonna show up pretty regularly. The issue is the app that I'm using for my phone is too. That's a real big chat box. I think the issue is it's too big for. Too big, sorry. The issue is the app doesn't zoom in because it's the free version of the app. So if I wanted to zoom it in, I'd have to pay money, and I'm not going to do that because I'm a broke bitch. So you're just gonna have to deal with it being kind of zoomed out for now. If you want to see it up close, just tell me in the chat, and I will try and zoom it in. Yeah, so let's just get started. I'm mostly kind of already done with this mini. It's pretty much just the face and then like highlighting here and there. But yeah, I think it'll be a good start. So let's think For skin tone, I'm going to do a sort of tannish brown color. Imagine not building your base up. What do you mean, it's a base? Like the actual... I don't know what I want to do for that. Like, I'm not really sure what to do for the base for my Stormcast. I've got the rainbow base on the mounted guide, but... This guy. I guess I could do the rainbow base. Not like I couldn't do a rainbow base on them. The rainbow Bifrost. I do think it would be pretty cool, at least for some of them. I don't know about the foot guys though. I think on the cab it looks great. I think for anything that does a lot of teleporting, like this lady, it'd look great. Full army Bifrost. Alright, we can do Bifrost. That'll probably be the last step though, because I'll just take them off the base, airbrush the base, do a resin pour over it, and then slap them back on the base. And it'd just be like a flat base instead of building it up with rocks and sand and stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to do full army Bifrost, I think that'll look cool. Now, pull out my really nice paint. We're going to get started on the face. Like I said, I want to do a sort of tannish brown. You know, I mean, you've had it for like 3 years and still haven't gotten a good complete shot of it. Do you mean like a good picture of the whole thing? I would have to like arrange a full table and put them all out on the table for that. Grab. No, most of the things that are 100% done are heroes, just because I prefer painting heroes, and like stuff that I brought to tournaments here and there. And my Warcry band, almost 100%, they're like 98%, 97%. So, but everything else is pretty much just base coated with like gold. And maybe red shoulder pad. And that's pretty much it. So, alright. So I've got several colors out right now. We've got burnt umber. I'm gonna show to the camera to sort of show you like what we're looking at on focus. So burnt umber is like a brownish color. Dark earth is also brown, but it's a bit more reddish looking. I've been using this as my leather tone base coat. We got earth brown, which is a much more tannish color. On focus, there we go. And I've got off-white because off-white blends in to everything to make brighter versions of every color. So, and it smells really good. This one smells like mint. I don't know why. But the entire time that I've had it, this paint smelled like mint. And listen, I'm not saying I've ever eaten it, but all I'm saying is I wouldn't not eat it if I wasn't afraid of poisoning myself. If I was a paintbrush licker, I'd have eaten it by now. I think. Listen, don't judge me, alright? A little bit of darker. and a little bit of earth brown. Tell me if you want me to rearrange the table around, by the way, if you want me to like get the colors closer so you can see them better, or like maybe put them up here. I could do contrast paints are the ones that taste horrible. Good to know. I don't know why you know that, but it's good to know. Silky brush. Where's my junk brush? There it is. Right. We're just going to drag out some of the paint in the middle, drag out some of the paint in the middle, and blend it here in the middle. And the way I tend to do faces is I do a bunch of different colors and build up from there. So in this case, we're mixing dark earth with earth brown. Both of them are the Ibetlong 502 series. They're very nice, like super matte paint. You can kind of see here's the color blend that we're getting. So we're going to use this brown as our base tone. We'll use this as a first highlight. We'll use off-white blended into this brown as our second highlight, and we'll use this to darken in the edges and shadows. And that's my plan for the skin. And hopefully it'll look really good. I'm going to start with the one side brush. Aside from roasting you for these first few minutes, it's probably been the highest quality this stream has ever been. Good to know. Noted. I haven't even gotten to painting yet, though. We'll see how that goes. Alright. I'm gonna put a base coat down. I tend to base coat my skin tone with gray, just so I know, like, it's not too dark and I can build up from there, but it's not white, so it's not so bright that I have to tone it back down. The gray is a nice neutral mid-tone. I'm gonna try and make sure I'm not, like, covering up the mini while I'm painting. I need to move that, don't I? Up, shit, too high. Be good. I like having a light right above it too, so that way I know how to, like, what the highlights are and where the shadows are going to fall, like, in a natural way. Basically doing a zenithal highlight without ever actually, well, putting the zenithal on. And I'm not going to be super careful here to start with, at least when it comes to the hair. I'm going to try and be careful around the gold, just because I've already gotten that and I don't want to have to re-go over it as much as I can, but I'm probably going to have to at some point. We're just going to give the whole thing a base coat of this blended earth brown and dark earth color. Not as zoomed in as I'd like to be. I'd like to be a bit more zoomed in. Suppose I could move this light. But I really want it to be ratchet. Could move this light in front of this camera, because it's got a 3 times magnifying glass in the center. And that would help me zoom in naturally without having to press the zoom in button. Maybe I'll try that for next stream. Or if it becomes like a problem that you guys really can't see what I'm doing, I might just switch to it this stream. But that would mean like taking a 10-minute break to do that. Let me know what you think ahead of time. Or, like, I guess right now. We're gonna give it 2 thin coats, giving it the classic Duncan Road. Is it Duncan Road? Is that what I'm thinking of? This model's kind of weird because the face, like, just into the pauldron almost a little bit. Doesn't matter to you? Okay. Yeah, the 2 thin coat range. I've been hearing about it. I've been seeing some YouTubers paint with it, but I don't think we've got anything like that in my local area, and I'm not keen on ordering more paint. I couldn't really justify it right now to myself, seeing if I have all these other paint. But if you get them, let me know how it goes. This is sort of darker skin. Don't know if it's overexposed or not. But yeah, we'll see. From here, I'm going to let it dry. I say, as I brush back over it. Shit. Brush back over it too much. You know, I can't just... Yeah. Yeah, I've got a storage rack here. I've got 2 of the Citadel ones, and then I've got another one off on the side here. And I still have too much paint to put anywhere. Look, I'm still constantly running out of space. I did get a quieter air compressor though for airbrushing. So now I might do like airbrush streams that aren't, you know, god awful loud. We'll see. I'm gonna have to wait for that to dry and then go back over it. Well, lifetime shadow beats me. They're awesome, very funny. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to do attention to detail here. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I guess I can show off a couple of my characters. Okay. So, these are a couple of characters from the Warcry Stormcast band, the Night Relictor. Yeah. With this full white cloak and bone color everywhere. And for an example of other faces that I've done, see if I can bring it in real close to see. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this one, I think I need to finish the red, but aside from that, the face is definitely done. So, yeah. So that's the kind of quality I'm trying to go for with my book. It does mean that I paint slow as hell, but you can't rush perfection, as that one guy from Toy Story said. Or the Toy Story 2, I don't remember. Whatever. Point is, can't rush perfection. can and I will. Do you sell these? Not the Stormcast, although I wouldn't mind painting as a commission if people were interested in um, paying for it. Either models that I've painted personally and then sell like on a market, or people paying for me to paint their specific models. I wouldn't mind doing it. I just like nobody offered before. So yeah, if you'd be interested in having me painted, I wouldn't like just let me know and I can reach out to you and talk about it. Yeah. I think I'm happy with the base coat of this brown. I think there would be a good audience for that. I do have an Instagram. I think it posted. I haven't posted it. I have an Instagram where I posted stuff, but I don't know where it is. We'll see. Let's add in basic D&D. Oh yeah, I mean, I also started with basic D&D figures. Be good to start with, but you can only get like so many D&D figures before you start realizing like how cool some of the Warhammer stuff is. It does kind of corner the market, unfortunately. Well, I mean, it's cool that they have it, but it's unfortunate that they corner the market. So now what I'm doing is I'm just sort of carefully applying a highlight on just sort of the higher edges. I'm holding it right under the light here so that I can see exactly where the light is catching the model and just apply the paint right over that. Almost like a light box kind of. Might even mix in more of the lighter brown into the middle brown tone, and sort of build it up like that. It's all about experimenting and just sort of figuring out what you think looks good. The worst part is I feel like I can never capture the detail quite perfectly on my camera. Way too exposed. How do I get the light to not be so bright on the top there? I'll figure it out. It's fine. Yeah, I'll figure it out some other time. Spent like 2 hours fiddling with the camera already, but as somebody was saying earlier, I think it was it Matt? Yeah. Don't know. these are Warhammer figures. Specifically, these are Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I am painting this as part of my army and as part of my sort of hype for the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar coming out later this summer. And I want to have like the stuff that I've been sitting on the backlog kind of finished before it comes out, so I can justify getting the new stuff and painting that. Not going to be everything that I've got for Stormcast, but it is going to be the stuff that I find cool. You know, the models that I have that I think are really cool. I'll switch to a smaller brush. This is a Zero brush from, I got one for 502. It is real small. Focus. Real small brush. We're gonna use this on the brown, the light brown, and we're going to. You have to be careful with brushes these small because the paint can dry too quickly, and that can either ruin the brush or it just won't like add paint on the model or that kind of stuff. And we're going to quickly sort of drag it across the highest edges and apply it like that. And if we need to, we will just re-wet our brush again and again. You can also use this to go back and catch some of the smaller details that we weren't able to get to with the previous color, which I'm going to do right now because I realized I forgot the nose. I'm going to get like the edge of the nose where, not the bridge, but the nostril, is that what I'm thinking of? The nostril. Sort of catch it ever so slightly. I can. Kind of hard to find the right angle for it. And obviously with painting, if you need to, you can always shift it, move it around, it's fairly small. There we go. We're gonna catch the bags under the eye. And maybe the lip if I can reach it. Okay. And it's fine if it overcatches because it's just paint. You can just paint right back over it. Going back with that tan color. And keep trying to catch the, I'm gonna go, I think, get kind of the jaw here, under the jaw. Get that jawline. That catches light. And we'll catch in between the hair and the brow. We'll go on the other side here and try and catch the eyebrow up there. We'll end up painting the eyebrow itself a different color, but it is important to catch the like raised point with the skin tone anyway, just because it's going to be very thin down paint, so it's going to show through that highlight, even if it's very faint. And sometimes it is faint enough to not need to do this. It's just sort of a, you know, your mileage may vary kind of deal, and you've got to figure out what you like. Again, I have no clue how well you guys can even see it, but Try and zoom in as close as I can on the face here. Come on. It would help if I move the light here. No clue how blurry it looks in that. Hopefully that looks good. Yeah. That's showing it. Okay. Ooh, shit. Moved into the tripod with my knee. Right. Thank you. Yep. I've been trying to get better at doing faces and skin tones in general because for the longest time I would just do like a gray primer and then hit it with a contrast paint, which is a specific type of paint from Games Workshop where it's meant to sort of seep into the recesses and stain the thing that it's painting. And they're still very useful. The contrast paints are very useful, but just doing that instead of trying to learn how to do flesh on your own, I think can, I don't know, it can like sort of stunt your growth as a painter to stick to one method and never change. That said, we're going to add the next and final highlight. We're going to use an off-white paint. We're not going to use the off-white paint on its own. We're going to instead blend it into the brown paint, specifically into the top layer of the brown, as a way of lightening up that brown quite a bit. I don't know if you can see it on the palette, but it's quite a bit lighter. And the nice thing with the paint, hello Molly, Molly the toaster, first time chatter, hello. Hello to you too. What you doing? You're just painting some Stormcast for 4th edition Age of Sigmar. So, I don't know how well you can see it, but we've mixed this sort of lighter, brighter color so we can use that to blend in on the highest detail, or the highest highlight. And this will be our final highlight layer. Good plate here, figured I put on a chill stream and saw yours. Well, I try to be chill, so thank you. Yep, we're just painting Warhammer miniatures. Just going to right on the highest layers, and this is where you'll really start to see sort of a brighter color. Sometimes it's useful to take your brush to the side like this and paint it almost perpendicular to the angle that you're trying to paint. So right on the bridge of the nose, the other eyebrow. And we'll try and get that other ear, but it's sort of in between a little loop here. There we go. There we go. And see if I can zoom it in again and get that same level of detail from the I think a lot of people sort of be painting as like it's easy to make a mistake, but like it's just paint. Thank you. Yeah, I'm terrible about drawing digitally. I can't do it for the life of me, even if I've tried. But I don't know, painting is just nice because you can experiment quite a bit. Ultimately, it's just paint. You can paint right over it, and it's not going to matter too much. You can strip the paint off if you need to, if it's like really, thick and clumpy. But it's just a matter of sort of taking it slow, taking it calm. And like, I know a lot of people talk about their hands being too shaky, but like, I don't exactly have the most stable looking hands here. They're not super shaky or anything, but they're also not like super calm. My hands shake just like everybody else's. And it's important to keep in mind that like, all you need to do is keep calm. I don't know, I'm rambling. But I think, cause like, I guess the next thing I'm doing here, and I'll show you guys because I'm about to do it anyway, but the next thing I'm doing here is covering up any mistakes that I made. And all that requires is taking a different color of paint, specifically the color that I want it to be, and going right back over it. And that's it. Okay, and we'll just, so right now what I'm doing is I'm taking a much darker brown, in fact, taking this dark brown on the end here, and we're just we're taking a bunch of water on our brush, and we are just adding some of that brown paint to our brush. We're going to let it drip almost into the details here, into the recesses, where I want it to be darker. Maybe I'm using a bit too big of a brush for that. We'll switch back to this one. And we'll just sort of right down into the detail, the recesses. So like under the jaw where the collar is, we'll try and let it sort of drip into there, and we'll let it do the same into the ear. Like that. Then around the back of the head here, and under the ear. Just like that. And might end up moving this wet palette here over to another spot on the table so I can reach it a little bit better. Also gonna go right into under the eyebrow and right underneath the eye bag there, underneath the nose, as well as sort of behind the bridge of the nose. Okay. And try the same thing on the other side. Although the other side is a lot harder to get to because of where it is, like it's harder to reach. So I might not even do it. A lot of the time you can get away with not doing things when you're painting, just because nobody else is going to see it or know it's there but you. It's your model. Ultimately, only, do what you're comfortable with doing. And this might be a bit difficult because the mouth is sort of, kind of pressed right up against the collar here, but I'm going to try and get the in between the lips of the mouth. You can see them, Jesus. There we go. Well underneath the lips, sort of blend it back in. Then we're going to take the original base color, do the same thing, except we're going to go up a bit higher in the color, so it's not quite as dark. We're going to build it back up. And we might even, we're feeling real daring, really daring, what we could do, and I'm not going to do it right now, but what we could do, we could take this larger brush that we did the base coat with, we could like thin down this brown paint into basically being a watery, matte. You kind of see like it's real watery. You can even add a bit more water. And we could apply that over the entire face, and that will sink into the recesses for it, as well as darken the colors back down. But we're not going to do that today, because I actually like the slightly lighter colors here. So luckily today all we need to work with is the eyes, or not the eyes, the face. The Stormcast models tend to be fully armored for the most part, with only sometimes the hand and like about half the time the faces. Usually you get a choice between hand or faces. Wow, I can't talk. Usually you get a choice between faces and like helmets. The helmets are even easier, and a lot of people choose helmets because they're easier or because they like helmets more. I tend to do about 50-50, so it really just depends on like what I prefer per model. So yeah. With that said, I'm going to do, because I've got the colors already here, I'm going to highlight the leather here using my earth brown color, because I haven't done that yet, and it will make the leather sort of pop more. Highlights are generally done to make colors sort of pop on your model and really like help you sell that it's a real thing rather than just like a painting. I guess that's not true. It helps sell the illusion of light hitting the model without having to blast it with light, if that makes sense. And as always, if you ever want to take a closer look at the model, you want me to show the model, just say so in chat and I will gladly show you the model in closer detail by bringing it up to the camera. Just let me know. And again, with this, I'm making mistakes all over the place here. It happened. So all I need to do with this is take that original color that I was working with, which is this dark earth color, just going right back over where the mistakes are. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Especially, like, it's especially important, just like if you're drawing, you want to make sure you keep your hand light. When you're painting it, especially painting models like this, you want to make sure to keep your paint thin. So that way you can go over it in multiple layers and cover up any mistakes that you might make with another layer of paint. It's really handy. Alright. There's more leather, isn't there? Yeah, leather strap around the elbow here, so we're gonna try and get that as well. Hurt my eye doing that. Ah well. You only live one. Any other leather? I don't think there is. Like I said, if you don't like it, you just paint right back over it. That's the beauty of it. Or keep it as it is. You can do the whole Bob Ross, happy little accident. Most people won't see it anyways if there's a mistake. Because, generally this is generally about how close you're ever going to see a model without picking it up and looking right at it in high detail. So, there's never much need to do this much detail work. The only reason I do, because I'm insane, the only reason some people might that aren't insane is because they do, painting competition, where the point is to get as much detail as you can, and, make it look as good as you can. Yeah. I don't tend to do painting competitions that much, though. There are some small subsect of us that will paint all the detail and aren't they? And that is true, yeah. Most people do not go... Okay, that's not true. People will go into as much detail as they feel comfortable with going into. That makes sense. There isn't... Some people will do every little, bit and bobbin on the side of the caricature and, all their... gear on their belt and do different colors for all of that, and some people will just paint it all one color. Some people won't even paint it, they'll just leave it with black, and that's it. They'll just maybe give it a quick dry brush and then move on. It kind of is person to person, and it's all about what you're comfortable with as a painter. Okay. What next? We'll do the hair next. So the thing about the hair is I want to keep it this brighter color. I think I want to keep it this brighter, grayish, maybe even white. Just because I like that look. Sort of a browner skin with white hair. I just think that looks cool. So I think that's what we're gonna do. For that, we need grays and white. We need to grab these colors anyways later on, because we are going to, at some point, paint the cloak as well and get the back of the cloak with more detail. So we're gonna need grays for that too. So pure white. We'll probably not going to use pure white all that much, even though it is white. Medium gray, it's base coated medium gray, but we'll probably need to fix up any details, and then we'll grab light gray. Those are the three colors that we'll use for now. And we're going to do pretty much the same concept as we did for the skin tones, which is taking several colors and building up from there. So we'll start with the medium gray. And if you do know anything about Warhammer, you'll know that they do not do very good, like, white paint. So generally, it's a trick of finding, like, good white paint to use. Because Warhammer, or Citadel, as their, like, paint, I guess their paint, like, colors are called, tend to have very poor white. They tend to be very chalky, very thick and clumpy. They tend to separate very easily. So this is our medium gray, this is our light gray, and then we'll use a pure white. But we're not going to grab that yet. We'll start with the light gray. And we're just going to use this to fix any points where we overspilled with brown skin tone onto the hair. Because it's already primed, or it's already a medium gray color to begin with. So. Alright, sorry if this covers up the model. I'm trying not to, but also a bit harder to get into all the details there without accidentally doing that. And this one is a braid, so I might even do like a sort of like a dual color braid where it's white plus some other colors on the other like part of the braid. But we'll see when we get there. Maybe a white and black braid would be cool. Another thing you can do if you ever make a mistake, and you have to be real quick with this, is you can take a wet brush. You can literally brush off the extra paint. You gotta be real quick with this, especially with acrylic paint, because acrylic paint dries so quickly. But you can do it if you're very quick on the draw. You just gotta clean off your brush with the water, make sure it's wet, and you quickly like brush away the extra color that overspilled. Okay. We're just gonna go right around the rim here of the hair. Just catch all the overspill. And if you're wondering what this on the side is, this is a wet palette. It's essentially a sponge that is soaked up with water with, in this case, it's parchment paper, but really any kind of like real thin baking paper or parchment paper. And what this does is the water that on the sponge will slowly seep up into the parchment paper, but not so quickly that it like soaks through it instantly. And if you set a paint on the top of it, it will stay wet, or at least like moist, for when you're painting. It lets you do a few things. It lets you keep your paint for longer, so that you're not like using up as much paint. It's a palette, so it's a spot to put your paint. It also lets you blend your colors, as I've done here on the palette. So it's real handy, and you don't have to buy one. You really don't. I only did because it was on sale at a local game store. And I don't even buy the like mat that you're supposed to use for them. I just bought like the container and the sponge, and I just use parchment paper to sit on the top. I've also got this ceramic square over here. This is a regular ceramic square. You can get them for like 30 cents at a hardware store, like Menards or Home Depot or something. They are real nice, like solid palette. It's a dry palette in that case. You don't need to worry about, it doesn't like keep the paint, but you can just put the paint on top and it just acts like a palette. And that way you don't have to go and buy those like super expensive like plastic artist palettes. Although you can do that too if you want. Those aren't like bad by any means. But obviously the less money you have to spend, the better, because art is for everyone. And everyone can do it. I think I'm happy with how that looks for now. Can't tell if that's supposed to be a lock of hair. I think that is a lock of hair. I don't like that. Okay. I'm gonna try and get that with the smaller brush, but I might just have to ignore it. Because it's like in between the collar around the back of the head and the side of the head here, right in front of the ear. Quick break. Like I said, if you want me to show you the model in full detail, well, as close to full detail as I can, just let me know in the chat and I will like bring it up to you. I'll also make a point of trying to do that at the end of every step before moving on to the next one. Speaking of the next step, we're going to blend our white and light gray and our medium gray and get a sort of in between for that. And we'll use that as our first highlight. And we'll be pretty heavy with this one. Pretty heavy-handed with this one to get as much of it as we can. So, like I said, sort of an in-between of gray. Currently painting the most exciting thing in existence. What's that? What are you painting? The tiles that are about 2 millimeters big on my base. That is rough. Yeah, I feel bad. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So, go and we're going to sort of catch the higher raised edges on the model. And again, you don't need to worry about being too precise, especially with this one. This is meant to be our sort of first highlight. We can be kind of rough with it if we want. So I'm going to pretty much every like strand of hair that's pulling out, catch. Like I said, it's helpful to, with edge highlights like this, to paint sort of perpendicular almost to the actual like thing that you're painting on. Because that way, well, for one, it doesn't like bend the brush, but also for two, it can help just sort of quickly catch the raised edges, which is what you're going for when hitting the edges anyway. So it's a nice quick way of dealing with it. Again, don't need to be super precise with this step. We're just sort of catching the highest edges and working from there. The other side of the hair. And this is gonna be tricky because this is like in between. This collar piece is really annoying, but it looks so cool. The other thing we're going to do, and I almost forgot, we're going to do the eyebrows. So we're going to go back to our original gray color. And this is going to be tricky because this you can really mess up if you're not careful. Though it is always fixable, of course. We're just going to perpendicular. Run it along the ridge of the brow. With the eyebrows, you only really need to do the base color. You do not need to do highlights for your eyebrow. That may be going a bit too far. You might be doing a bit much there, so. Run it along the edges, kind of shape it, almost like you do in makeup, I think. Wouldn't know, I've never actually done makeup. Just to make sure that we're not making any mistakes. We can fix it with that original brown color that we used for the skin tone, just to cover up any extra paint there. And with that, I'm going to show you how the eyebrows are turning out, because I think they look really good. I don't know if you can see them, but it's right over the eyes there. That's it. That's all you need to do. Next up, we're going to go to the next step up with white, which is our sort of lighter gray color. This is an almost white color, so you can get pretty good results with using this. Oh, I think I added a bit too much to my brush here. Could be nice if you need to paint, like just get a little bit of extra paint on your hand or wrist. And that way, you don't have to worry about the brush being too wet. I don't do it too often though, because I'm perfect. Things like this, where you need to keep your hand steady, I find it kind of helps to take a deep breath, and on the exhale, you're exhaling out. Gotta send a message. Hold on. I cannot see that. It is too blurry, my friend. I'm sorry. Too blurry. You might have to resend it. Although that could be my eyes crossing at this point, so, you know. Yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so if you ever need to, and this goes for any time you need to, like, keep your hand steady doing something, taking a deep breath and, like, doing the trigger on the exhale can really help. I find, at least. Sure, there's a scientific reason for it, but I don't actually know what that reason is. Matt, I don't know if you heard me, but I did say that the picture is too blurry for me to tell what's going on there. So, might need to always take it. Think that's looking good. Show the camera again. And focus. So try and get like the top of the head there. It'll focus. I don't know if that's too close, too far, if it's not focused. Again, just let me know in the chat, obviously. If you want to wait see it, obviously, tell me then too. We're gonna go to white now. So, this stuff does not smell like mint, like the other white did. So I don't use it as much. And I probably added too much to my palette there, because we do not need much of this stuff at all. But we are going to quickly mix in some of the gray with it. A bit watery. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to pick out the raised edges with this brighter color. If you want me to talk about lore for Age of Sigmar, I will gladly do that too. I am autistic. My hyperfixation is obscure lore from a game that nobody seems to like. I don't know if that was an off-color joke. I am actually autistic, for the record, before anybody says anything about that. But, yeah. But speaking of obscure lore, the, what's it called? What's their name? The Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, is a thing in Age of Sigmar. Games Workshop just straight up stole it. It's a Stormcast thing too. I think if I remember right, I don't think it's like they actually travel on it. I think it's like their souls travel on it when returning back to the realm of heaven. When they die and need to be reforged. It's been a while since I read this specific passage, so I might be wrong on that. Yeah. All we're doing, picking out the specific raised edges once more. I'm getting like progressively lighter and lighter on the edges that we pick out. We don't want to, we want to like build up a gradient of light and shadow. I don't know if you can hear about that, but somebody's moving around in my apartment building. Oh well. Not much I can do about that. Alright. Now, because we're doing white hair, we're going to pick out the like most extreme points with white. I wouldn't normally do this, except for the fact that I'm like trying to do white specifically. But it's fine. We're going to go back in with the like medium gray and wash it back down basically. And this is going to be extreme edges, so like just the brightest, highest point on the hair here. That's it, that's all you need to do. You do not need much white. Go back with this larger brush. We're going to sort of water down. You're wondering why I'm doing this, because there's like puddles of water on my palette here that I can use to quickly like soak up with my brush and mix into my paint, which is what I've been doing. And I think I'm gonna actually use the mid-tone color instead of the gray. And we're going to add quite a bit of water to it to really water it down. And we're going to effectively glaze with it. So the darkest bits of it will soak into the recesses and it'll tie all the colors back down and sort of unify them without necessarily dulling down too much on the like on the brighter white. So we're just going to do that to the entire thing. We're going to apply it all over the white here. We're not going to do it to the eyebrows because the eyebrows are already that color anyway. We didn't do any highlights for them. There wouldn't be much to do for them. So I suppose you could if you really wanted to. And just like that, we are done with the hair. And I don't know how well you're able to see it, but showing it anyway just in case you can. I'll take a quick break. Give myself 5 minutes or so. Chat with you guys if you want. I can really pay attention to the chat. If you have anything you want to say, feel free. Yeah. Get up and stretch. You probably want to do that. Feel free to ask me anything while I'm taking my break, because I will answer. I mean, I'll answer regardless. I'm not gonna, but still. Pull that? Probably not yet. I think the next thing we're gonna do is the blue handle on the weapon, and maybe also the red on the inside of the cloak. I might change the inside of the cloak. I'm not sure if I like the red right now. We'll see. Keep talking to the camera. Okay. Yeah. So, with the blue, it's already got a base color, Prussian blue. We're not going to add that to the palette right now. So we might end up doing it later. Instead, we're going to add our primary blue. We'll keep it real simple with this one. We're just going to add primary blue to the edges because it's like a wrap handle. So we'll just add it to the tops of the wrap, and that's it. That's all we'll do there. We don't need to do like extreme highlights with that. Nobody's gonna look too closely at the handles to see just how blue they are. If I'm feeling like it, I might go back and hit it with a wash afterwards. But that would but that would, that will come later. If I'm using a wash, I'm probably going to use it for everything all at once instead of like in between. So, how's the music, by the way? Too loud? Too quiet? Terrible choice in music? What do you think? Same thing. Smaller brush here. Important to keep in mind, and this is a posture thing, and I do this all the time, but I really shouldn't. With your posture, you pretty much always want to be having your elbows on the table here, so that you can use it to hold up the model and your brush, as well as kind of your entire upper body. Otherwise, and this is what I tend to do, you tend to sort of slump way in like this. My neck is not supposed to bend like that. At least not for extended periods of time. So it's a real easy way to get some serious back pain doing that. Yeah, neck pain really, but still. If you paint a model, make sure that you are having your elbows on the table. Fuck what your mom said about it etiquette-wise. You're not eating dinner, you're painting a model. It's different. Unless you're an ogre player, then I guess it's really not. Very hunch-pilled, yeah, same. I hunch all the time, and I have to remind myself not to hunch. It's real bad on your posture. Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself with my elbows on the table like this, just so I'm not hunching over. Oh, thought of a banger joke while I was in the shower. For Pride Month, obviously. Fellas, is it gay to paint Space Marine? That's it, that's the joke. I got the joke from there, they're all dude. Pretty gay to me, Not that that's a bad thing, I paint Space Marine sometimes. Nothing. Nothing. Not even +2. Nothing. Can't believe it. Plus crowd. Rudy joke, I'm clearly gloved up and pulling models off the printer. Listen, you could at least type LOL, right? And you could at least say that was stupid. Or I guess you couldn't say that. It's fine. I'm not salty. Not salty. I'm not. Alright. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all you really need for the blue here. It's not. It just helps it pop a little bit, but not so much that it's like overwhelming or anything. Up next is. I want to do the red. Oh, I guess I've got this like whole purity seal thing, so I guess we can do that. We'll just use gray for that. And this is one of the things where we gotta make sure we're doing two thin coats, because otherwise the gold underneath it is going to shine through. So. Start hiccuping. That's not good. Can't be hiccuping while I'm painting. We'll let that dry. It might even have been too thin there. Water might have leaked back into it to make it. Give me a second. I'm checking my messages. Okay. So, to give you an idea of how quickly acrylic paint can dry, especially at this scale where we're using pretty thin paint, that's been what, 2 minutes? And it's already almost entirely dry. So, you really don't have to do that much waiting when you're painting. And of course, if you need to, you can always paint something else while you're waiting for it to dry. When it comes to oil paint, which is a bit more advanced, that can take a long time to dry. And I haven't used oil paint that much. I've only started recently using them. But they can take like days fully dry, so just know like what material you're working with and the properties it can have. that's pretty much fully dry. So we're gonna go back over with a second coat. Always remember, 2 thin coats, or else Duncan Road will show up and break your kneecaps. If you don't know who Duncan Rhodes is, he was, I don't think he is anymore, he was the sort of Warhammer tutorial painter guy. He would give like tutorials on how to paint Warhammer official models. And one of the things he'd always say is, make sure to use 2 thin coats of this paint so it isn't too clumpy. I don't think he works with them anymore, but he does still paint as far as I understand it, and has his own paint line too, it sounds like. He's pretty neat, called 2 thin coat, so if you're ever in the market for new paint, you can look up 2 thin coat, apparently. I don't have any of those colors, though. One of the things with like mini paint, which is kind of unfortunate, is that their like companies that make them all have their like special names for them and whatnot, and it can sometimes be confusing to hear like, oh, you need, let me pull up an example. You need castellan green. Well, what's castellan green? You know, especially if you're using. Yeah. The point of 2 thin coats is to be direct allegory to Citadel paint. That is true, and like there are other paint companies like Army Painter, which I have a number of their paint. Vallejo is a really big one. They make like it's scale 75. There's another one. These are all like miniature paint. They're like small bottles of paint that are meant to like have colors. The issue is a lot of them name their colors in like goofy names. So like Castellan Green, maybe not the best example. Scale paints. Scale paints are really nice. They're thicker than the paints I'm used to using, so I don't use them that much. But I have scale color brown leather, walnut, and orange leather right here. And I also have somewhere else, I know I have like an off-white bone color. Thinking of switching over to them. They are very vibrant, yes. They're nice and thick, and they're not like dull at all. See, what are some other colors that I've got? I've got this like this Irati green. It's like a nice bright color. Thick as Citadel? Yeah, about as thick as Citadel, I'd say. The stuff I use, the Iberlong stuff, is very thin and like pretty translucent. So I'm at this point used to using those thinner paints, but scale color is about as thick as Citadel and like more, I think, just as bright, if not brighter. Yeah, they all have different consistencies. Yeah. They also have, I tried this, I wasn't super happy with it. They have the floor. It's like a fluorescent color. These have a weird like texture that I wasn't liking, but that may have just been me and not knowing how to use fluorescent paint. Whoops, sorry. This graphene gray is really nice too. Lay them down. No, It's like 2-to-1 water ratio is what I was using, and that's like a nice base coat. But I didn't use them as glazes, just because like if I wanted to use glazes, I'd use these colors. The Arabic Shadow is also really nice. This is like a brighter leather highlight color. Yeah, I have a number of other paints. I have some Army Painter paint. Army Painter Fanatic is really nice. The new stuff that they just have is really nice. The speed paints, which are their like response to Citadel's contrast paint, are very hit or miss. Some of them are really nice, some of them are terrible. The airbrush paints are okay for the most part. The main thing with their airbrush paint, incorrect. We got words to say. New speed paints are got you. I don't think I've tried any of the new speed paints, so I might be wrong on that. Yeah, the old speed paints were pretty hit or miss. The thing with their airbrush paint that I really like is that they have them organized in like low color, medium color, high color, like high tone, so you can easily build up to like a nice blend with an airbrush with them. So you can do like a low level green or like a darker green, a mid green, and a light green to build up like a green orc skin tone or something, or like goblin skin tone. And they have that for like every airbrush color that they've got, so that's pretty nice. What are some other paints that I've got? The Eibelon paints are much. Their paint is good. Only have the orange though. Yeah, their paint's not bad. I think it's good. The Eibelon paints that I've got are very expensive. They come in boxes of 6 colors built around a theme. Or you can just get like their big one. I think their boxes of 6 are like $20, $25 a box, which is like expensive. That's hella expensive for paint. Why is it so expensive? Because it's really good. It's really good paint. This stuff is so goddamn matte. It is insane. Like nothing else comes even close to looking as like flat as these paints do, which is really nice for building up layers. Like the side-by-side comparison drying wise between the paint and like Citadel paint. Citadel paint might as well be gloss paint with how like matte these things are in comparison. Matte meaning like flat, by the way. That's why I have these paints, and I tried to. They come in like theme packs, so like cold and red and like black, because they're really fucking good paint. I don't know what to tell you. Like I've been using this entire string. You've been watching me use them. That's how I get my colors. Why would I spend so much on paint? Because it's good paint. I don't know what to tell you. If it makes you feel better, I've been using them for a year and a half now, and I haven't needed to replace any of them. They're just, like, there's enough paint in them to now, like, run out easily. I think it's 20 milliliters of paint. And the average Citadel pot is 8. The bigger Citadel pots are 18. The smaller Citadel pots, I want to say, are 12. So like this is more paint than you're getting for, a Citadel paint. It's more paint, I think, even than you're getting for like a scale color paint. Yeah, this is 17 milliliters of paint. This is 20. And you basically never run out of this stuff. Like, this stuff is really good. It can be used through an airbrush. It's a bit too thick for an airbrush. You gotta really water it down. But it's possible to use for an airbrush. I just don't like it. Yeah, it's just really good paint. I don't know what to tell you. You have to convince me they're worth it in person. Don't agree that matte paints are 100% necessary. Okay. What matte paints allow you to do, and what they've allowed me to do, is because there's like no shine on them at all. You can hold it right up to a light, like this, and you can see exactly where the highlights are without it like shining, without it like flashing, like without like the overexposed shine, which is really good for highlighting and getting volumetric lighting without needing an airbrush. Now granted, I think you should do volumetric airbrush with an airbrush, volumetric lighting with an airbrush, sorry, like 99 out of 100 times, just because it makes volumetric painting, like volumetric light, so much nicer. That's the difference too if you paint volumetric lighting. I think it looks good. I don't do like full volumetric lighting. Cause like the full volumetric lighting is the stuff that people bring to like painting competition. But like I like to do a sort of hybrid volumetric edge highlighting. So yeah, that's why you would want to use these kinds of matte paint, because otherwise there's enough of a shine, especially on like Citadel paint. There's enough of a shine that you really can't see. Like it just reflects light. It doesn't reflect the color that you've actually painted, especially in like with like highlighting. Like bright lighting, not highlighting. Yeah, I think that's the reason why you'd want to use these kinds of like super matte paint. It's a style choice, I think, ultimately. You don't like, or if you don't care about volumetric lighting or like having matte paint, do you prefer miniatures that are more realistic looking, like work by Angel Giraldes, or versus something overly stylized? I'd have to look up exactly who you're talking about and what theirs look like. I think I don't know. I think with overly stylized, I think it needs to be pushed to such a degree that it's almost like a comic book, like very pulpy looking. Or like very bright, vibrant colors. I don't think I kind of like a soft middle ground. I don't really like hyper realism. I think that tends to look uncanny. But I also don't like I guess what would the term be? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll look up Angel Giraldes. Yeah, I'll look them up afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to painting. I've been procrastinating. I'm gonna add another third layer of gray here to this little I guess purity seal. I don't really know what to call it. Um, don't know. When it comes to my personal painting, I do prefer something slightly more realistic looking over like the hyper stylized stuff. But I don't. That's more just because it clicks in my head better with the like more realistic stuff. And I don't try to go for like hyper realism. I just try to go for more like, I guess, I don't know. What would the term be? Hyper real, I guess would be the term. If I'm saying hyper, the word, look up Sergio Calvo on Instagram. He's someone who paints in the style I'm talking about. Yeah, I'll check him out. Yeah, you know who I do really enjoy the work of, and I forget their name. They're on YouTube. Like Grimdark something. They're like a restoration painter, so they paint stuff that people like. They like fix bad paint jobs for people. But the other thing they do is they do like insane kit bashes where they like have like heads exploding and like, you know, holes being burned into people from like lasers or whatever. It's really cool looking. It's gross as hell, but it's like super cool to see it done. And that's like a not hyper realistic, but like hyper real, if that makes sense. Cool OSL grimdark stuff. Yep. Yeah, and like I said, I forgot their name, but it's really cool looking. Okay. Question. How do we feel about the inside of this cape? Do you like the red or no? And for everybody in chat that's sitting around. Yeah, that's my thinking too. I need to keep it consistent with the rest of the army, because the rest of the army is red. So, there's no like exposed shoulder pads to paint red. The only other thing might be like this little crest on the top here, and I might paint that red anyway. Make it darker than that, so it's not a focus. But then it wouldn't be the same red tone, and it will end up being darker anyways, just because of the wash that I use. But yeah, I think. Yeah, when I say like, does the red work, I mean like, would it be better to use an entirely different color? And I kind of don't think it would be. I think the red is fine. Yeah. Because otherwise it doesn't blend with the rest of the army. Yeah, okay. That said, I'm going to add another coat of that red. To make sure that it's nice and solid. And then we'll build up from there. Okay, going now. The other thing I was going to say about the Iberlin colors, and this is kind of a minor nitpick more than anything, but their actual like painters colors, like their name, so it's like vermilion and burnt umber rather than like Mournfang brown or would it be Mephiston red? It's probably more like Watchdog red. I don't know. I just prefer that. I think that it's like a shared language of color, if that makes sense. Yeah. You can tell how much I use this because this thing is fucking squeezed. It's actually not that close to being empty yet, but it is probably one of my most used colors beyond maybe my off-white from this range. I've also been blending it with with a sepia tone to get the inside, like, pockets here. That's this, like, reddish brown color on the, inside of the armor. And I think that looks really nice, too. Shit. I accidentally bumped my hand up. Well, if I really wanted to add the red, I could also add it on the shin guard here. But I don't know. I don't think I'd like that very much. Checking to see if anybody said anything. The inside the cloaks like this, sometimes you really do just have to leave stuff unpainted and just hope that nobody's ever gonna see it. Because otherwise you are going to go crazy trying to get every little speck of a cloak painted. I'm gonna add some vermilion red now. And this is going to be our main highlight color. If you're following along, or if you want to follow along, they should basically be going from corn red from Citadel to, well, Vermilion more like wild darker red, but we're going to mix the two and get a sort of mid-tone, which is more like Mephiston red. We're going to use that as our sort of primary, or as our first highlight color. The difference here. That's vermilion, that's our original red, which in this case is called reddish black. It's the one that I use like all the time, and then the central one is that mix. I have found that I'm not a big fan of this range's primary red color. I find it a bit too pinkish. So I've been using the reddish black and then mixing vermilion in with it to get a like primary red that I prefer instead. That said, your mileage may vary, but with this, we're going to just hit the sort of edges that are most likely to see this like light. Will be kind of the inside, or the edges here, and up the cape, as well as like this inner fold that kind of forward. Because these paints are so translucent, I don't have to worry too much. It'll tend to like blend in with itself pretty well. So I don't have to worry too much about like overdoing it. Because if that ever happens, I can just blend it back down. And we're not going to do very much with this because you really don't need to do much highlighting here with this cape. Trying to make it look, trying to bring it in line with the rest of the army. Then, for the extreme highlights, we'll just use a regular vermilion. And this, again, extreme highlight, we're going to be real subtle with it. We're just going to hit a couple of key areas and then move on. So, the tip of the cape up here, edge here, and maybe a little bit up here. Maybe further along the cape up here too. Okay. That's it. That's all you need. That's it for this red. We'll come back to it later with like a contrast type paint, and we'll like almost glaze wash it down back to a darker color. But it'll retain the like bright highlight without looking too orange. I don't know how well you can see in from here. You can kind of see where the highlights are. What's next? Oh, we gotta do the back of the cloak here, the other side of the cape. And then we'll do the highlight on the inner, like, under armor. And then we'll do, like, the metal edges. And then we'll touch up any gold parts that have, like, accidentally been covered up by another paint. And then we'll call it good. I think that'll be it. Yeah. Then we'll be done with this guy. Or gal. Oh. We'll do wash it, and then we'll be done with it. Alright. Sound good to everybody? Yeah. So, quick Yep. So, with black, pretty much never want to do just straight black. Um, both in general, but also like you don't want to just do black and then leave it black and like not build up from there. But and the reason for that is because very few things in nature are pure black. There are a couple of exceptions to this, I guess both in nature but also just like when painting. What would the exceptions be? The exceptions would be like pitch black shadows, or if you're trying to go for a very comic booky look, like a very hyper stylized look, like we were talking about earlier. You could use black for your shadows and like really let it sink in. I know a ton of like Gundam painters, like Gunpla. They use black for their like for the inner like line between the panels. Um, there are a few things that you want to use like black for, but most of the time you want to use like a really dark gray and build up from there with progressively lighter grays. If you want to make it look, if you want it to be cooler, like a cooler black, you'll want to add a bit of blue into there. And if you want it to be a warmer black, you'll add a bit of, not red, you might add like a bit of an orangish brown color into it. Like very little amount. You don't need much. But in this case, we're going for like fur. We're just going to do like a neutral black. And we're going to start by putting some black on the palette next to where our grays are. And if you know where I'm going with this, don't spoil it. But first, we're going to base coat, or I guess base coat the black fur to be black. In this case, this is pure black from Iverlung. They also have a couple of other not quite as black colors. They have smoke black, which is a nice, like, kind of bluish almost black. Like it's black, but it has almost like a blue mixed in, I think. And that's a really nice color. And then otherwise, sepia, which is in their leather colors, is like a brownish black, which is really nice as well. And is what I tend to use instead of pure black, but in this case I'm doing pure black just for a more like stylized look. And just to sort of help it pop. And you want to be careful. Make sure that we're trying not to paint over the things that we've already painted, just so we're not, you know, going, so that we don't have to repaint it. Yeah. And yes, it is a bit hypocritical of me to say you never want to use pure black and then immediately use pure black. I am aware. But consider that I'm a little bit dumb. And just a little guy. And fur tends to be fairly easy because it's so textured. You can just enter the base color and then texture progressively lighter with I mean, you could really just dry brush it, and that's like the easiest way to do it. But because it's so late in the step, I don't want to get too much more overfill. We're not going to dry brush it here. We're just going to do a sort of pseudo dry brush with those lighter colors, where we take we're pretty much going to do what we've been doing, where we take a perpendicular and like run it across the edge. I'm going to use sepia colors for the claws and pad of the foot, but we'll do that separately from the rest of the fur. Broke my goddamn back trying to wash off my brush. It'll be embarrassing to have to explain. Okay. So we've got our black color here and we've got our gray. So we're just going to take some of that gray, mix it into the black. And voila, we have now a dark gray. Just like that. And we're going to use that dark gray as our first color for highlighting the fur. I'm just going to kind of run it across the top. Run it across the top here. And we can afford to be pretty rough with this one. We don't need to be too, calm with this one. We can be smaller brush. That'll probably help. Yeah, we don't need to be super careful about this one because it's a natural fur color that we're trying to mimic, and nature tends to be kind of messy. Especially with colorations in nature. So you can be a bit more aggressive with it. With the lighter colors, we are going to be a bit more careful. But for now, we can just sort of aggressively be perpendicular and just get the highlight. And some of the paint here is not quite dry yet, and this is edging on close to something called wet blending, which I might do for a different Stormcast model down the line. Wet blending is where you take a wet color on the thing that you're painting and take a different color. You literally just slap it onto that still wet paint and mix it right on the model that you're painting. If you're wondering why you would ever want to do that, I just realized I've got my bad posture already. If you're wondering why you would ever want to do that, it can help make really cool magic effects. Which is what I mainly use it for, is magic effects. Things like fire, things like lightning, big old arcane blast or whatever. Wet blending is really handy for fire, or for magic effects. Or torches. Another way to do, another thing you could use wet blending for. And it sounds hard, but once you get used to it, and like once you get the hang of it, it's actually really simple. And it's actually kind of fun, personally. I do web lending. I try to do web lending a lot now that I've like gotten the hang of it. It's also like the basis for oil painting. So if you're ever using oil paints, you pretty much have to learn how to wet blend, because that's like why. That's like the point of doing oil paints, is that you're going to be wet blending with it. I'm gonna take a quick stretching break again. If you're following along, you should probably do the same. Alright. I'm gonna try to finish the bear cloak and then go on a bathroom break and then come back. That's the plan. Next step, I'm gonna take this lighter white. We're gonna mix that into the black as well. Going to go with more medium gray. Alternatively, I could just use the medium gray, but that wouldn't be as fun, I think. And this one, like I said, we do want to be a bit more careful. We're just going to hit the like very tips of the like tuft of fur that we see. So. Try and like use just the tip of the brush. Just run along the edge there. We're also going to try and follow like the sense of light, so we're not going to hit the bottom here, underneath where the cloak starts to fold. Instead, just going to hit the upper part. And that'll help us sort of mimic the light hitting it, but not quite hitting the rest of it. We're also, while we're at it, going to use this to hit the bear claws. I think it's the claws, or whatever it is. We're just going to sort of lightly dab it on, and that'll be like the reflective nature of the, I guess, claw material. I don't know what claw they're made out of, but they have that sort of shininess to them. If you've ever seen a bear's claws, or really any animal's claws that are like dark, they have a sort of shininess to them that you can mimic by using this mid-tone gray over black. Actually realizing that I needed to paint that claws black, so we're gonna go back and do that real quick. Yeah, okay. But you're trying to run away from me. It knows. Okay. Now, when I zoom in, try to see the like fur texture on the cloak. Well, that looks really good on the camera. Okay. Yeah. And that's it. That's it for a cloak. All you need to do is 3 colors, at least for black. Okay. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. And then I think we're pretty much just going to be doing the final like touches, and we're going to be done. So yeah. With that said, like I said, we're going to sort of wrap up the model, and then we'll be done with it, and then I'll probably just chat for about 5 minutes, and then wrap up for the night. Sound good? Let's see. What's left to do? Got the leather, we did the red, done the cloak. Done the blue, we've done the skin, we've done the hair. Ooh, we need that like inside armor. Mix a bit of that dark earth from earlier and a bit of this red. Make it sort of reddish brown. That's what we'll use as our sort of highlight color there. Might be a bit subtle, but it's not really gonna matter because it's meant to be like an Under Armour. It's kind of meant to be something that you just sort of notice and then forget about. So we don't need to worry too much about like making sure it looks perfect. This is meant for like under the knees or like the sort of thighs here. So it's gonna be pretty minimal, like literally a couple of brush strokes here and there. And then we'll just kind of leave it. It's kind of one of the lesser important parts of the model. It's one of those things where if it looks bad, it's noticeable, but if it looks fine, nobody cares. Because it's meant to be very subtle. I just realized I haven't done the gun at all. I guess I gotta do that too. Not much to do, I think. Since it's mostly gold anyway. Yeah, I guess we just be some silver parts here and there, and that's it. Okay. Oh, and black. So we'll go back and use the black. Like a crossbow pistol type thing, so. That doesn't look right. I just ignore this part and just make it all gold. Not care too much about the details there. We'll do the handle though. I'm planning on not doing the handle. There we go. And then pouch here. I'm also gonna paint black. I think it's like an ammo pouch. I think we just touch up the gold and metallics and call it. Oh, and I guess we have to use some washes here and there, but yeah, I think that's it, and then we call it a day. Okay. So, our gold, the base for our gold is Retributor Armor Gold. For me, I tend to blend this with an airbrush and build up. For the armor, it's just Retributor Gold, whatever the like shinier gold is, and then the brightest silver. And then roll it back down with an under, from below with a darker gold. I think I used the Vallejo Air Gold. And that's like my gold recipe for the Stormcast Eternals. So much came out weird. Okay. And for this, we're just going to go back and like any details that have been covered up or, overspilled, we're just gonna clean that up. So like, here's some of the black got onto the gold. I'm just gonna clean that up. And that's it, we're just fixing details. Well, I should probably do the silver first. How much needs to be done in silver? The edges, crossbow. Yeah, we'll do the silver first. Do lead belcher. Probably do the base on my own time, just because it requires the airbrush. And it'd be me trying to get the model off the base for 40 minutes first. And I don't want to subject you guys to that. But the next stream I do, which will be whenever I remember I have a Twitch channel, I'm only partially joking. I'll try and make it more consistent. I always say that, but I will actually try this time. I live in a new place, I don't have to be quiet. I don't have to work with shitty internet, so... Guess I do have to be quiet to some degree, I do have neighbors, but still. Go back and give that a second coat, but there's some other parts that I need to do over, like the barrel of this crossbow. Matt, do I have your permission to play this model even if I haven't drilled the barrel? Actually, no, Matt's still here. Judged by the no answer, then Matt is no longer in the channel. Well, I know his whole thing is drilling barrels. Is his thing drilling barrels? I don't even remember. Somebody roasted me for not drilling my barrels. I don't remember who. Back over the weapons and just giving them another coat. A much brighter coat with a brighter silver on the edges. Make them look nice and sharp. And go back to the gold and fix up everything with gold. That's over. Next we'll do... Take your paint. They tend to separate if you don't. a good arm exercise too. Big and more. I even want to use this one. I don't even think I want to use this one. I want to use this one. You can hear the rattling. That is a mixing bowl and a bottle of paint. Helps to mix them up whenever you need to. And it's going to be a nice light highlight on the sharp edges of the axes. That's that metal gun. We're going to go back to the gold and fix up anything that they've gotten covered for real this time. And this is mostly just a sort of observing and trying to figure out what needs it and what doesn't. Luckily for me, most of the gold on this is in pretty raised edges, which is why it's overspilled. So, don't need to worry too much about being too careful because I can just do my normal perpendicular highlight with the gold to fix it. bad posture again. Oh, sorry for being so quiet. Been trying to focus. Again, sorry for not talking. I'm kind of hyper focusing on finishing this. Yep. I think that's all the gold fixed. Now it's all the gold fixed. With that, I'm gonna put a wash over a few things. Number one, we're gonna put it over the cloak. I'm just gonna use normal oil probably. We're gonna put it over this purity seal. We're gonna use Agrax Earth Shade for that. And then we're gonna I think use a red contrast to glaze the red on the inside here. And that's it for our washes. So let me pull those out. Got moon oil, Agrax Earth Shade, and I think we're gonna use Blood Angel's red contrast, which I might have a bottle of actually. And I do. My appointment. Okay. One final stretch. And here we go. So, I think we're gonna try and use this sort of junkier brush for our washes. We'll start with the black, since that's an easier area to cover. And one of the things we want to do with washes, or at least that I would do with washes, is adding a bit of water to your brush. That will sort of help thin down the wash so it's not quite so thick. Because the full Citadel washes are kind of thick. Maybe we'll put water. And what wash paints do is they sink into the recesses because they're like basically water, like super watery paint. So they sink into the recesses, sort of form a natural shadow out of the things that it's going over. Up is the Agrax Earth Shade. This is just for the purity seal. Normally I'd have more stuff to do with it, but in this case it's just the one thing. Sort of spread it around and make sure that always that's land and the sort of weathering here, as well as on the underside. I might go back over that with the gray to just sort of really highlight it, but next up, blending with contrast red. Now contrast paints are a lot thicker than wash paint, and for that reason, we're going to water it down with something with a medium. In this case, we're using a Lamian medium, which is this stuff. This helps to sort of thin down and make a more watery consistency. Blood Angel's red is like this really nice dark red. Can't really see it on the dry palette that I'm using over here, but it's a really nice like dark red. And so it kind of helps to act almost as like a wash for the rest of the red that I'm using, and really darken it back down. Make it a really nice deep red. I want to say blood red, but basically blood red. Still gonna add water to it. Oh my gosh. And we want to add a very like washed consistency. We'll basically just add that right back over the red down here. And basically glazing the colors and tying them back in. Should have waited until after I did this to retouch the gold. The thing with contrast paints is that they tend to stain anything they touch, paint-wise. Which is nice because it means that you can sort of tincture the existing things in a new color, which is like why you would use it as a glaze. But unfortunately, if you don't want it to tint that thing, you accidentally get them over that thing, and means you have to repaint over that thing. Which can be annoying at this stage where we're almost done. That said, I've been pretty careful and I don't think I got any on any of the pre-existing like gold. So I think we're good. Except for maybe those little chevrons on the inside of the cloak. Oh my tuck those just in case. Okay. Part of the thigh armor with it. That said, it's gonna take a few minutes to dry, but I think it's looking really good. Quickly edge highlight, purity seal here. Real quick and dirty highlight. Okay. The only thing I might do in the meantime is I might still paint that like shoulder piece, the little comet piece on the shoulder up here. I might change that to a, like the center to a red color. I think that might be like the only change I make to this. That and putting it on a rainbow base for the Bifrost. With that, I think we are pretty much done with the Knights of Heroes, who I just realized I haven't given a name to ever. Whoops. Anybody got any name suggestions? Feel free to hit me with them. I'd love to hear a suggestion for a name. Or this lady. Or a title. A title would also work. But I am terrible at coming up with names, so I don't. I did recently use her in a game against Fleshy, of course, so maybe something like Kingslayer. Cool. Oh well. I'm sure we'll come up with something. Wondering what I'm doing, I realized I forgot to do the paws of the cloak, the bear paws. So I'm gonna really quickly do that in that sepia tone that I was talking about earlier. Which is just different enough that it should be noticeable if you look closely, but not like overwhelmingly compared to a regular. You know, it'll have that like darker tone that animal paws do, without being so dark that like it's just black. I think that's good. I'm happy with it. Yeah. I'll show you what I'm talking about with the rainbow base in the next stream that I do. But essentially it'll literally just be like a rainbow coming across the base in the direction that she's running, with a resin pour, like a clear resin pour over it. And that's it, that's all I do. It's a really simple base scheme, but it looks super good, especially when like across like an entire army. I think it'll look really nice. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, the model itself though is done. Yes, I can paint that rock something too, but that's fine. Yeah. With that, thank you for tuning in. This has been a weeb painting stream, painting Stormcast. My next stream, I'll probably paint a new Stormcast model, and it'll just be painting the stuff that I have in my backlog until 4th edition comes out, when we get new like Stormcast models. So with that, have a good night or morning, drink water, and paint minis. I will see you guys when I go and stream next.